Welcome, fellow Monster Girl hunters. Today we'll be going over the Centaur and Unicorn from Monster Encyclopedia, Volume 1 from King Who Cross. A centaur was a creature from Greek mythology which the head, arms, and torso were human and joined at the waist to the body and legs of a horse. These creatures represented barbarism and unbridled chaos and were frequently represented in Greek architectural sculpture and pottery decorations. However, despite their bestial and lustful reputation, some centaurs were not unfavorable portraits in myths unless they were under the effects of wine, perhaps when they are a cautionary metaphor for the dangers we all face. We should forget our civility and lose control of our faculties. The father of the race of centaurs was Centaurus, himself the offspring of Ulyxion, who had made love to Hera, or more precisely, a cloud made by a jealous Zeus to represent Hera. These centaurs were believed to live in the forest of Thessaly, beyond the laws of man. These mythological creatures might have had a basis in reality. There was a tradition of hunting bulls on horseback, and the very word centaur may have originally meant bull killer. Perhaps the horsemen of Thessaly were so skilled that they seemed to be one with their horse, and so the myth of a single creature was born. Perhaps the most famous centaur was Chiron, known for his great wisdom and as the tutor of the god of medicine Asclepius and the hero Hercules. Achilles and Jason and his son Titus. He is a shadowy figure in mythology and as only a minor character in many myths. Details are scarce. We know that he was the son of Hilary, daughter of the Titan Oceanus, and that he was married to the nymph Carlicto. A rare depiction of her in art can be seen on a Corinthian plate 600 BCE, where she is named. Chiron is also believed to have lived in the forest of Mount Pelion. He is most commonly represented wearing a short tunic and a cloak, and often carrying a branch over his shoulder from which he hung hunted animals such as foxes and hares, perhaps indicating his reputation as being the most civilized centaur. His front legs are often human, and he is generally less hairy in both legs and torso in respect to other centaurs. In mythology, Chiron was an advisor to Lysis, and he often associated with the king's wedding in Thetis, appearing on representations of the event in Greek art. The couple's son, Achilles, was entrusted to wise Chiron for his education during his adolescent years. The great hero also inherited a formidable spear made from Pelion ash, which Chiron had given to Lys. This spear was so large and heavy that only Achilles was sufficiently strong and skilled enough to wield it, something he does with great effort in Homer's description of the Trojan War in the Iliad, where the spear is twice specifically mentioned as a gift from Chiron. In the encyclopedia, the centaur is a beastman with an upper body of a human and the lower body of a horse. Centaurs live in large numbers across Earth's grasslands. They are typically master warriors who use their powerful legs to gallop about the land, bows and swords in hand, as they live by hunting wild animals. Most centaurs value their pride as warriors and are usually calm and rational. They eschew meaningless attacks on humans, holding such acts to be a shame upon the honor of their ancient heritage, from which has sprung heroes and sages innumerable. However, their innate disposition is rough and lustful, and it does not take much for them to lose their senses and show their true colors. Some of the most volatile individuals may flare up in the glancing touch of a human man. In such moments, their violent and lustful natures comes to the fore as they give in to the heated throbbing of their body and release their suppressed passion upon the man. Difficult as it may be to believe, centaurs are even more troublesome after they finish their assaults. When lucid, they place great importance on chastity, and so in the aftermath of fornication, they will chase the man about, demanding that they take responsibility or allow her to take responsibility. Despite these claims, however, the truth is that The monster inside these beasts is whispering to them, get the man, copulate, and unite in lust. Centaurs allow only their husband to ride their backs, though even this is a rare occurrence. When she does, reluctantly, let him mount her, the closeness of their body against hers flushes her with arousal. By the time they reach their destination, the centaur will likely demand that they have sex immediately. All monsters in the centaur family have 2 vaginas. One is in the back, as it has been since the day of the old overlord, and as it still is on horses. The other is created upon the ascension of the current overlord. It is located in front, as the border between the human and horse portion of the centaur, in order to facilitate coitus with men by mimicking the anatomy of a human woman. Either vagina can be used to conceive children by copulating with a human man. The rear vagina has been shrunken to human size, the better to draw semen from the centaur's human lover. Up next, we have unicorn. The unicorn is a legendary creature that has been described since antiquity as a beast with a single large, pointed, spiral horn projecting from their foreheads. The unicorn, as depicted in ancient seals of the Indus Valley civilization, and was mentioned by the ancient Greeks in accounts of natural history by various writers. The Bible also describes an animal, the rhinum, which some versions translate it as unicorn. In European folklore, the unicorn is often depicted as a white horse-like or goat-like animal with a long horn, cloven hooves, and sometimes a goat's head. In the Middle Ages and Renaissance, it was commonly described as an extremely wild woodland creature, a symbol of purity and grace, which could be captured only by a virgin. In the encyclopedias, its horn was said to have the power to render poisonous water potable and to heal sickness. In medieval and Renaissance times, the tusk of the laurel was sometimes sold as a unicorn horn. The unicorn continues to hold a place in popular culture. It is often used as a symbol of fantasy or rarity. A number of seals seemingly depict unicorns that have been found in the Indus Valley civilization. Seals with such a design are thought to be the mark of high social rank. These have also been interpreted as representations of aurochs, a large wild cattle that formerly inhabited Europe, Asia, and North Africa, or derivatives of aurochs, because the animal is always shown in profile, indicating there may have been another horn, which is not seen in profile. Unicorns are not found in Greek mythology, but rather in the accounts of natural history, where Greek writers of natural history were convinced of the reality of unicorns, which they believed to live in India, a distant and fabulous realm for them. One of the earliest descriptions in the book Dinki on India has described them as wild asses, fleet of foot and having a horn 28 inches in length and colored white and red and black. The author got his information while living in Persia. Unicorns on a relief sculpture have been found in the ancient Persia capital in Iran. Aristotle mentioned a one-horned animal, the aurochs, the antelope, and the so-called Indian ass. Others have written about the one-horned Indian ass. Pliny the Elder mentions the aurochs and an Indian ox as one-horned beast, as well as a very fierce animal called the rhinoceros, which has the head of a stag, the feet of an elephant, and the tail of a boar, while the rest of the body is like that of a horse. It makes a deep lowing sound, and has a single black horn, which projects from the middle of its forehead. A merchant of Alexandria, who lived in 6th century, made a voyage to India and subsequently wrote works on cosmography. He gives a description of a unicorn based on 4 brass figures in the palace of the king Ethiopa. He states that it is impossible to take these ferocious beasts alive, and that all its strength lies in its horn. When it finds itself pursued and in danger of capture, it throws itself from a precipice and turns so adeptly in falling that it receives all the shock upon the horn and escapes safe and sound. From Monster Girl Encyclopedia, Unicorns is a variant of the centaur, with a beautiful white coat and one horn extending from its forehead. Unicorns often live in deep forest. Though they are still considered monsters, they are treated as a symbol of purity. Their demure demeanor and peaceful grace make them the very image of chaste maidenhood. Like other monsters, when choosing partner for population, they prefer human men. However, they never force sexual intercourse upon them by means of violent assault. Their most favored partner and companions are the most pure, virginal men who have never dallied with other women or monsters. Furthermore, they are said to remain pure virgins themselves, abstaining entirely from fornication until they exchange vows with their husband. They grant their bodies to their lover of choice and none else. And sexual intercourse is to them a sacred act, a covenant between man and wife. For this reason, many people hold misconceptions about unicorns. But take heed, do not be deceived by the innocent facade, as they are as lustful as other monsters of the centaur family. The unicorn without a husband doubtless spends all day after day, dreaming of the sweet pleasure her future husband will bring her, and a unicorn who is newly married can be expected to use her pure yet lascivious body to actualize every dream of pleasure she had in all those days of abstinence. She seduces her husband and spends day after day with him in the sweet pleasure of lovemaking. The horn of a unicorn contains powerful magic, which the unicorn can use for potent healing effects. The purer the unicorn's magic is, the more powerful the healing properties will be, while any intermixing with other types of mana weaken its strength. It is said that the reason unicorns avoid men who have lain with other monsters is to keep their own mana pristine. While her magic is capable of defending her from the outward assault of foreign mana, if her husband is unfaithful, the mana of the other monster will be stored in his body. If she lies with him thusly, she will find herself filled with strange mana she is helpless to resist. In such a case as this, the unicorn's own mana rapidly transforms, and she becomes the opposite of a unicorn, a bicorn, a monster known as a symbol of impurity. Bicorns value debauchery and wish for nothing more than to drown in pleasure. A unicorn who has turned into a bicorn is likely to desire to lead a more prophylatic and the bark lifestyle, and as she may summon the monstrous partner her husband broke his fidelity with, so that the three of them may together discover a deeper, more violent pleasure. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tell your friends and like, follow, subscribe, whatever this particular thing does.